Hello and welcome to Homes for Lambus YouTube channel. My name is Claire and I am your yoga instructor for today. You won't necessarily need any props today. If you like to sit on a block or a cushion though, then feel free to grab one. And then let's come to find a nice, comfortable, tall seat. I'm choosing this kneeling position just because that's a little bit more comfortable for me. But if you prefer a cross-legged pose, then please go for it. So you have a fidget, you can try both and then see which one feels best. And then come to ground your hands down onto your legs. Close down the eyes, find this tall spine, and together we take our deep breath in. Deep breath out of the mouth, let it go. You made it to your mat. Sometimes that's the hardest thing. So finding stillness. Finding and connecting to a sense of settling into your body. And what I mean by that is we can journey through our day with no awareness of our body really whatsoever, what aches, what feels good, what doesn't, because we're so intent on living our day. But now is your chance to pause, to watch and listen and notice as to how you're doing today. How's the physical body? Anything particular hurt or ache or feel sore today? It's your opportunity to check in to see how you're doing mentally. Have you had a day where your thoughts are rushed or troubled? Maybe you're stressing to finish a project or a task, or you feel there's lots of things you haven't done today. So note how the mind chatter is whilst you're here. And finally, notice how your emotional body is today. How are you feeling today? And so just take a moment to check in and accept yourself for how you are showing up on your mat. You don't have to show up on your mat feeling amazing. You are welcome on your mat, no matter what mood you have with you today. Now know that you're here and in a place to hopefully transform how you feel. Breath moves in and out of the nostrils. And body just gently pulsates as you breathe. You feel that diaphragm lift and fall. You feel the rib cage expand out into all directions. And belly also moves on the breath. It pushes out on the inhale and it draws back belly button to spine on the exhale. So just settling here, nice easy breaths, just quietening your body. Quietening the mind and heart space. Noticing how it feels to be still. And perhaps you notice the longer that we sit, the more that you focus on the breath, perhaps you notice the breath just naturally starts to slow. The breath, the oxygen, sending the messages to the nervous system to quieten and calm. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out of the mouth, and then softly blink the eyes open and come to make your way to a cross-legged position. Have right leg in front of left. If you need to stay sitting on that block or blanket, then please do. Otherwise, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out here as you melt a little forwards over your legs. And see how as soon as you do that, you start to feel that stretch into the outer hips. And you might feel the body wants to resist here, particularly if you're tight in the hips. And if that's you, if that's your experience, perhaps deepen the breath a little bit more and try to imagine your hips literally melting as you exhale. And sometimes that visualization really helps to shift something. Those of you more open might be reaching much further forwards. And of course, those of you being a little bit more mindful of the body might just be seated upright with hands to the earth supporting you here. So find your level of stretch. But it should feel nice just to release into the hips, release into the spine. And then with the right knee in front, just turn your body over the left knee, melting forwards. And you should feel that stretch shift a little bit more into the outer right hip. And you might also get a stretch down the side body. Maybe reaching forwards a little or a lot. And as we start to move, try to very much keep your focus on the breath still. And that will be the thing that helps you to settle both in your body and into your mind and heart space. It will be the thing that continues to work throughout this next 50 minutes to be the thing that calms you and brings you to a place of center. Let's walk back to the middle and then slowly roll up and switch, change the cross of your legs, left leg in front. Take a deep breath in at the top, nice long spine, deep breath out and reconnect to your second side. So now the stretch is a little bit more onto the left. Don't worry if you still feel it on both sides. That's perfectly normal, particularly if you're tight, you're likely to feel it on both hips. And just be really mindful of your knees here. If this aggravates your knees at all, then a really nice thing to do is if you have cushions or blankets is just to prop your knees up. So for example, I could put a block just underneath there. So yeah, if you need to at any point grab something just to help lift your knees a little, then feel free to do so. It's your body, your practice. From here, deep breath in. Let's turn the body this time to the right knee and melt forwards. And so you may just feel that slight back and side waist stretch kicking in as you take the side twist. Gaze soft, full breath. Keep melting into this physical structure of your body. And it's always very soothing to release tension from the body. It really shifts how you feel mentally and emotionally to work with the body. You know, they're so interwoven, so connected. Body, mind, heart, soul. Come back to center and lift up, and then just transition for me onto all fours. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Let's begin to move into our cat-cow by taking an inhale to lift up through the tail and the face and the chest. And take an exhale, tuck and round. Arms are straight here. Fingers are spread. So there is a degree of space in between thumb and fingers. And you're really grounding strongly into the earth. And notice that my elbows stay pretty straight. I'm not bending into the elbows. The only movement is coming from the movement of the spine. And of course, that pelvic tuck and tilt. So a really nice way to ease into your back. Let's take a few more. It's an inhale as everything opens, shoulders draw down the back, and it's the exhale as you tuck, curl, and round. Again, one more. Take a deep breath in, open, and deep breath out. And then from here, sink your sit bones to your heels and reach actively away with your hands, perhaps coming up onto fingertips. Forehead melts to the floor into your child pose. And perhaps for you, your sit bones don't come to the heels. Maybe they're here. And again, that's okay. Another nice modification to do could be to put a blanket in between this space, if that's your body. Alternatively, you can go the other way and bring something underneath your forehead to help sink hips to heels. So lots of options. From here, walk your hands over to the right, really reach, and then stack left arm on top of right, just to give you that extra stretch all the way down, almost from your armpit down to your waist. So really actively reach your fingertips away from your heels here. And then let's walk to the second side, arms over to the left, right hand stacks on top of left. If that feels too much for you, keep the hands apart. Deep breath in, deep breath out. A nice sigh, let it go. Stretching right in between the ribs. To walk back to center. Final one on the hands and knees, and then we will come up and into our downward facing dog, is to keep bottom over knees, reach arms forwards and bring forehead to the floor. So it's a little different to child pose. Child pose is back here with grounded heels to sit bones, and melting heart, the hips are much higher and over the knees. So just notice that difference. Forehead to the floor, or you can bring chin to the floor and look forward if that's accessible for your body. Otherwise, just stay here and melt. Again, fingertips are actively reaching away. So reach fingers forward as you send your sit bones back in space. Lengthening through your spine and at the same time melting into the upper chest. From here, come back to your child pose. Let's start to warm up a little bit more through the spine. Here we go. Take a nice inhale, round the spine into cat. And then as you exhale, lift up the head. That's the first thing that moves as you sink the hips to the floor. Hands underneath the shoulders. Take an inhale, it's your cobra. Note that my elbows clip into my side body, and then push back into your extended child pose. Let's take that twice more. Inhale, round the spine, cat. Exhale, lift the head as you sink the hips to the floor. Hands underneath shoulders, elbows clip in. Inhale, cobra. To push back, exhale, melting heart or child pose. One more time, round the spine. Inhale, exhale, release the hips. Inhale, come into your back bend. Exhale, heels to sit bones. Add on from here, round the spine, one vertebra at a time as you come up onto the shins. Place the heels of your hands to your lower back. Fingertips point up and lift your heart. It's just a very small back bend. And then reconnect to your starting point. So let's do that one more time. Inhale, round the spine, catch. Exhale, hips, chest, chin. Real fluid spine here. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, extended child pose. Here we go with the roll up. Slow roll up. Catch the heels of the hands to the sacrum. Inhale, heart lift. Exhale into that extended child pose. One more, then we add on downward facing dog. Round the spine, cat. And exhale, hips, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale into cobra pose, shoulders move down the back. Exhale, sit bones to heels. Take a slow inhale, round up, catch the back, lift the heart. And then take your exhale, connect your hands to the floor, lift up through your seat and move into your downward facing dog. So first one, as always, as in pretty much every single class that we do together, we just take a moment, first of all, just to pedal through the feet and the knees. And you could also, if you haven't done this one before, you could take the feet wide, rise up to the balls of the feet, and maybe introduce just a couple of spins through the balls of the feet, dropping heels to the right and lift and to the left. If that doesn't feel good, then stay with this pedaling of the feet. And then move your feet hip distance apart. Have a sneaky look at the hands. Are they shoulder distance apart? Soften the knees to take the hamstrings out a little bit and focus instead on this nice long spine. Deep breath in and out. And there's something about being upside down, which is essentially what you're doing here. It's a mild inversion, this pose, which means our head is below the heart, so not something we would normally do in our day-to-day life. Yeah, normally head is on top of the heart when you're standing, walking around. But there's something incredibly restorative about hanging the other way. So feel the shift and change in blood as it perhaps rushes to head. Arms are strong here. And then let's slowly walk those hands all the way back to the feet. Get off your arms and shoulders. Soft knees, doesn't matter if you touch the floor or if you don't touch the floor. Just allow your body to hang. Cup your elbows, little sway from side to side, anything that feels like it's giving you a little bit of relief into the whole back body. And then let's dangle those arms, let it go. Pull in through your belly, slowly peel up. Try and touch every single vertebra of your spine. Note my head is the last thing to come. And then once you get there, roll the shoulders back, really set them onto your back, and then come to move to the front of your mat. Bring your feet completely together. Bring your hands together at the heart center. Take a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. Notice even after just a portion of your class, hopefully how much more body aware and energized and vibrant you feel just through opening your body with the warm-up poses that we've done. Let's heat the body up a little bit more, moving into our classical sun salute with low lunge. Here we go. Deep breath in, open the fingers as you lift the heart to the sky. Deep breath out, melt over your legs, let it go. From here, step the right foot back and gently bring the knee to the earth. Circle your arms, lift your chest, and take a full inhale. Exhale, set the hands to the floor, pick up that back knee and make your way to downward facing dog. Just taking a moment to fill up this shape with the whole length of your body. Inhale, ripple through into plank and gently bring your knees, your chest, your chin to the floor. Sweep forward, so legs push back as heart lengthens through the arms. It's your inhale, cobra. It's your exhale, back to downward facing dog. Shake out the head when you get there. Bring the feet together, sweep the right leg to the sky and take a full inhale and exhale. Feel that lengthening through the back of the left leg. And then gently, lightly step the foot in between the hands. Help it get there if it doesn't quite make it by holding the ankle and picking it up. Deep breath in, circle the arms, lift the heart. Try to feel this sense of lifting forwards and from the back body. Yeah. And then circle the arms round, pick up that back knee, step forwards, feet can be together or a little apart, and release over your legs. Bend the knees, inhale, rise. Exhale, connect hands to the heart. Left side, deep breath in, lift up, back bend. Exhale, dive over your legs, tuck your chin to your chest. Step the left foot back, bring the knee to the earth. Take a breath in, heart lift. Exhale, plant the hands, connect, downward facing dog. Inhale, hug the inner thighs together as you transition to plank. Bring the knees, chest, chin to the floor, shoulders draw back. Inhale, push, slide through. Cobra, collarbones really broad. And exhale, downward facing dog. Once again, bring the feet together, pull your belly button in towards your spine to support your mid-body as you lift that left leg up and step it in between the hands. Again, if it gets here, literally grab it by the ankle and place it through. So that knee is nicely in alignment over the front ankle. Deep breath in, lift. Step forwards and fold. Exhale, let it go. Bend the knees. Inhale, sweep to rise. Exhale, connect hands to the heart. Good. Moving through that flow and adding on a couple of different poses. Inhale, heart lift, legs strong. Exhale, fold yourself in half. Step the right foot back, bring the knee to the earth. Sweep the arms up. And then connect your right hand to the inner left foot. Stack left shoulder on top of right and turn this into a low lunge twist with the option, if you wish, tucking the back toe and powering up that back leg. Your choice, your body, your practice. If you wish to keep it a little easier today, please keep the knee down. And so notice how the breath picks up a little bit as you start to move more strongly into your practice. Take an inhale, circle the hands, step back, that back knee lifts into downward facing dog. Lengthening your spine, shake out the head. Moving through into your vinyasa, inhale into plank, exhale, knees, chest, chin, or take the version we did early, which instead of the chest lowering down first, which is a little stronger on the arms, you instead bring the hips forwards first. It's a little sweeter for the body. Deep breath in. Downward dog. Deep breath out. Feet together, sweep the right leg to the sky. Inhale, lengthen. And place it in between the hands, back knee down. Take a rise up into your low crescent. And then from here, bring the hands to the floor. And then take your front right foot to the back of the mat. So yes, it's a little bit of pivoting on that left knee. Take your time to get there. Left hand to the floor and reach and stretch. And if it feels good, you could pick up that right leg. You don't have to. It's just a modification. Otherwise, stay foot to the floor. Feel the opening here through the waist. 2, turn back to the floor and just make a real nice, easy transition back to your downward facing dog. From here, bend the knees to look forwards and step to the top of the mat, bringing your hands underneath the knees, lengthening your spine once you get there. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up, belly pulls in. Exhale, we draw the prayer to the heart. Move through that sequence second side. Deep breath in, lift up, circle the arms. Deep breath out, fold at the hips. Step the left foot to the back of the mat. Inhale into your crescent. Left hand to the floor. Right arm lifts, fingertips to sky, right shoulder on top of left. Feeling that twist and rinsing through the spine. Connect the hands to the floor, free up the back knee, step back, downward facing dog on your next exhale. Inhale, ripple through like a wave, shoulders over wrists, plank, gently lower, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra pose, lift up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bring your feet together at the back of the mat. Left leg sweeps. It gives you a little bit of momentum to step, place that foot in between the hands, knee down. Rise up for a moment, feel the crescent second side, and then hands to the floor. You can pull back the hips. It helps you to make this transition. Take your left foot to the back, pivot 90 degrees onto your knee, and open up. And notice that my knee is pretty much stacked underneath my hip. You know, it's not over here. It just gives you a little bit more support, that's all, if it's roughly underneath the bottom hip. Nice big stretch. Again, you have the option of flexing the foot and lifting the leg if that feels okay. If not, keep foot down. So you're building up some strength into this supporting arm. So make sure you draw that shoulder down the back and away from the ear. From here, touch down, pivot to face the front of your mat, and lift up the knees, transition downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Again, inhaling and exhaling, just give the body time to settle. And if you need a break, come down onto your knees and just take a moment into child pose. Just letting shoulders settle, back settle. And then when you're ready, hands to the earth, transition back to your downward facing dog so that you can finish that flow. So bend the knees, look forwards, get a little springy in the knees, and let that feeling help you launch the feet forwards. Hands to the shins, shoulders roll back. Inhale and exhale, melt. Inhale, press through the feet to grow tall, literally lengthening, growing as much as you can, and then connect the hands to the heart. From here, just move the feet hip distance apart. Take a deep breath in, fold forwards, and take 5 rounds of breath in Uttanasana. And if hands don't touch the floor, they could ground to the back of the shins, or maybe you keep hands to the waist. And maybe also you bend the knees. So just find an expression of this pose that works for your body. And so one of the things to take away from your yoga practice is you don't have to look like anyone else. You don't need to be in the pose as fully
as someone else. You just need to be in an expression of the shape that works for you. And no matter what that looks like, you're still going to be releasing stress and tension from the body. And that's the most important thing here, rather than the physical, the way that the pose looks physically. From here, just heel toe your feet a little wider. Turn the toes out, the heels in, and come all the way down into a squat. If I show you from the front. And so depending on your body, your heels might be down. Mine aren't. My heels can't touch the floor in that pose. So again, it's working with how your body is in this shape. So ideally, of course, the heels would be great if the heels were grounded. So pause, gently press perhaps the elbows into the inner knee and get that nice stretch into the inner groin. This is called Malasana. It's a yoga squat. And heart is lifted rather than curling forwards. If you can, bring a sense of lift to your upper body. And then let's move this into a nice twist. Extend your right hand out to one side and lift that left arm to the sky. And you might feel a nice stretch through the front of the arm. And let's feel that second side. Left arm extends off and right arm lifts up. To connect for another 5 rounds of breath into this pose. And so because you're so grounded and so low to the floor in this shape, you're really dropping strongly into the hips here. We say this move is a real steady pose. It's a pose that helps give you a sense of strength and stability and groundedness. So if you're having a day where you feel a little bit like your head is in the clouds, you're not feeling connected at all. These kind of moves, these lower down moves, are really great ones to do. From here, let's just release that from the body. Just lift up, transition your feet back to parallel and find yourself back into that forward fold just for a moment. And then let's step right foot back, left foot back, and take a child pose. Let that come out of the body. And again, there is a sense of ground here as you bow head to the earth. And there's something definitely very special about this feeling of bowing towards the earth. That doesn't necessarily have to mean it's a spiritual or a religious thing. But there's something very humbling about bringing forehead to the earth. So again, if there's a day when you're feeling disconnected, coming to be humbly bowing to the earth is a really nice sense of coming back to yourself. Let's take one more inhale and exhale here. And then when you're ready, take yourself to downward facing dog. Have a couple of hip stretches here to do. Hope you enjoy. So feet together, sweep the right leg to the sky. Step it through in between the hands and bring the knee down. From here, windscreen wiper that foot out, a couple of rotations out to the right. And turn your toes out to point to 2 o'clock on the clock. A left hand to the floor. Use your right hand to guide and open your knee, peeling that inner thigh away from your torso. Part twist, part hip opener. This is the lovely lizard. So just enjoy the opening. If it feels good for you, you could even stretch the arm back and reach backwards. To walk the hands back and then just stay very forward facing. So my toes are still turned out.
And again, a real good pose to ground yourself and to open the hips. You should hopefully feel this as a big stretch through the front of that left hip crease. And also a little bit into the inner right thigh. From here, let's take the delights of Pigeon. If this doesn't feel good for your body, I'll give you a modification. From here, we now walk, walk, walk that right foot, this time all the way over to the left, until we can drop our knee to the earth. So right knee is behind a right wrist, left, and that foot is behind left wrist. Yep, so right knee to right wrist, foot to left wrist. Inch back through that back leg and then melt forwards. If this feels too much to melt forwards, then stay lifted. And if this causes you a lot of pain in your knee or hip, or you find that your right seat is really high off the floor, then your modification is to take cross-legged pose, the pose that we did at the beginning. Still a hip opener, it's just a milder version of a hip opener. Otherwise, if you're with me in Pigeon, we have a few more breaths here. Take this opportunity just to check in that the shoulders are nice and easeful rather than hunched up to the ears. Just give your neck a little bit of space here. To lift up, let's ease out of this nice and slowly. So tuck your back toe, you free up that back leg. Your transition to downward facing dog is pretty slow after Pigeon. So just give yourself time. If you need to shake out that leg a little bit, if it's gone pins and needles, you can open the hip if that feels good. But just give it a moment for that circulation to come back a little bit before we work onto the second side. And then when you feel ready, let's move through that sequence to the left. Inhale, left leg lift. Step it, place it in between the hands. Heel toe, the foot out, toes turn this time to 10 o'clock. Right hand to the floor, roll and stack left shoulder on top of right and push the knee away. Again, option, maybe you get the reach, feeling it right across the chest, perhaps, and the arm. Otherwise, stay here. Of course, you can feel this stretch into the outer hip. And then come back to center. My upper body now faces the floor rather than the side. And I pause into this true expression of lizard. Take a moment to relax through the breath. Transitioning to Pigeon, I walk the foot behind the right wrist and then bring that knee and outer shin to the floor. Lengthen back through the back leg and moving into this great big glute stretch and outer hip stretch. Take one more breath. To lift up. Untuck your back knee. Gentle transition, shake it out. Downward facing dog. So a little shake, and I think that feels good here. And then come to the knees and come to make your way all the way to your belly. Come onto your forearms, elbows underneath shoulders,
Again, just roll the shoulders away from the neck, coming into the lovely Sphinx pose. My feet are legs are hip distance apart. I'm really lengthening the legs back in space, and I'm pulling the elbows back as I take my heart forwards and through my arms. You're going to feel this into the lower back. If it feels a little icky on the neck, then you're welcome just to tuck the chin. And you'll notice perhaps as the body wants to protect itself in these back bends, you might notice your lower back muscles gripping. You might also notice your glutes gripping, so your bottom muscles, in they go. So just send the signal to the body. It's okay, relax, unclench the buttocks, soften through the back. And then maybe it feels a little nicer when you do those shifts. And then release, and just take a moment. Take your arms out to the side and just turn your cheek to the floor, just allowing your back to neutralize, to settle before we come into our next pose. You can even shake through the hips, feels good. From here, a really nice stretch through the arm. So with your arms out to the side, and just make sure your arms are in line with your shoulders. They're not forwards, they're not back, they're directly out to the side. From here, bend your right knee and then use your right hand just to help roll you backwards over that left arm. So you should feel a stretch in your bottom arm. Your foot, like mine, just might be tapping the floor. If it doesn't reach, it might just be hovering in midair, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong about what this leg does. It's just about stretching into the bottom arm. If it doesn't feel comfortable for head or neck, you could bring the head and just rest it on your right arm. And of course, you'll get a view of how this looks on the other side in a moment. But for now, just breathing into that stretch on that bottom arm. It's pretty big, but it's nice all the same. And to unwind, just roll back onto your belly. Yeah, take a moment, just ease through that shoulder. So showing you that onto the other side, I extend my right arm. I bend my left leg. I push myself all the way back onto that arm. Again, maybe foot comes to the floor, maybe it just dangles, but try and take it back in space, because that will help you to roll backwards, and that's what we want to do. If I bring the leg in front of me, I'll roll off the stretch. So let's take back, leg back. Again, hand underneath head if that feels good, and you're breathing into the stretch of the right arm now. Breath in, breath out. Of course, if this doesn't feel nice for your body, if this feels way too big a pose for your shoulders, please feel free to skip this one out. It's not going to be for everybody. Or you could just stay in Sphinx for a little longer. To slowly come back out of that, you make your way onto your belly. Take a moment to pin your arms back, turn your cheek to the floor, and again, have a moment to rest. Little wiggle of the bottom or swishing of the knees helps to release your lumbar spine. Take 2 more breaths, just resting. Notice how that feels in the body to pause. To bring hands underneath your shoulders to lift up. Take a child pose. And notice how lovely it feels to suddenly go from an extended spine to a rounded spine. Let it go. Little wiggle. And then lift up. And let's come to transition onto your back. Hug those knees into your chest. And then take a hold of your knees, open your knees apart, and just pause into this inner groin stretch for a moment. Your eyes might begin to close. So hopefully you know you're already on the home stretch. If it feels comfortable for you, you could come into a very gentle shoulder stand. I'll demo that for you. I'd give take my legs away from my body just for a moment to give myself a bit of momentum. And it is momentum. If you haven't done this pose before, it's definitely a bit of momentum to get the weight of the hips up. You'll notice I'm in a diagonal shape rather than coming into full shoulder stand. We're taking it really easy here. If you have high blood pressure, please don't do this pose. And of course, it goes without saying, if you have neck or shoulder injuries, you wouldn't necessarily want to do this. And a really nice modification, by the way, if you would prefer not to do that pose, is to scoot your bottom right up against the wall and instead take legs up the wall pose. It's got a similar vibe to it, a restorative vibe, without that little bit of a fear factor of having the legs up. But if you're with me in that modified version of shoulder stand, let's be there for just a couple more breaths. Again, keep neck nice and long, keep supporting the weight of your hips. And of course, you can also do this next to the wall, just so again, you feel like you have a bit more support if this is new to you. And then with as much control as you can, just bend the knees, hands to the floor, and roll down. Beautiful. Let's take a counter pose. So just opening the throat now. So feet to the floor, just lift up your hips. Open the throat. So you've gone from a very folded position now to opening. So legs energetically hug in, glutes engage, shoulders soft. Deep breath in and let that go. Deep breath out. Well done, my friends, if that was your first time for doing an inversion. Take a little rock and roll. Let's take our delightful twist. Hips to the right, knees to the left, opening out the body here. Deep breath in and out. Option, of course, as always, to extend the legs if that feels nice in your body. To take second side. Of course, if you have more time, you can be in all of these poses for much longer than we do them together. To come back to center. Draw those knees in and then come to find your relaxation, your Shavasana. You can put on your jumper, you can put blankets over your body so that you feel really warm and comfortable. And then when you're there, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, let it go. And then just for a moment, clench everything. Crunch your feet, crunch your arms, your fists, your shoulders. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then drop. Notice the absence of tension. And relax into your body here. Breath is nice and easy. Eyes are soft.
brain in the skull is soft. Take a couple more breaths. Know that you can be here for as long as you wish. Otherwise, if you're finishing the class with me, take the arms above the head and take a full body stretch. And then hug the knees one at a time into the chest. Take a roll over to one side and just pause curled up in a ball. Just it's a nice slow transition to sit. And then when you're ready, gently come to any comfortable seat. So as we started, knees can be bent in a kneeling pose or cross-legged. Close down the eyes, my friends. Just take a moment, ease through those shoulders, and then find stillness. Take a breath in. Breath out, let it go, any tension left in the body. And just take a moment before we finish just to notice how you feel compared to how you felt when you started this practice. Hopefully better. Bring the hands together at the heart center in a gesture of honoring to yourself for practicing today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. Thank you so much, my friends. Hope you enjoyed the class. Please note we hope to continue these for you at Homes for Lambeth. And if you wish to know anything else about what these guys are doing to support you during this time, please do check out their website, www.homesforlambeth.co.uk. Otherwise, hope to see you again in a class real soon. Thank you so much, guys.